and we'll be right back to talk about episode 5 of season 3 of Jujutsu Kaisen, a highly anticipated episode because it was the introduction of the famous Akari, one of the fans' favorite characters in Jujutsu Kaisen. So how should I put this? This character was once a source of memes among Jujutsu Kaisen fans. For those who keep up with the trends, there's the famous lobotomy Kaisen movement. These were silly memes, each one sillier than the last, about Jujutsu Kaisen characters, including a famous Akari at one point. I won't spoil it for those unfamiliar with the manga. At one point, he uses a special attack that's unusual and funny. So the character became iconic because of that. Like the character Naoya recently, nobody cared about Naoya until recently, but in the adaptation, since there's that moment where he fixes his hair while trying to beat someone up, he also became a bit of a meme. Alright. Personally, I don't mean to be harsh, but I think he's a pointless character. I need to reread the manga, but it seems he really has no purpose. We'll see. He's cool, likable, and charismatic, but in the story, he doesn't really serve a purpose. Maybe in the future, actually, this adaptation of Culling Game will prove me wrong. But anyway, so the episode starts with a pretty interesting scene. About Principal Yaga, I'm not making this up, his name really is Principal Yaga because I'm not just making up names, Masabishi Yaga. I opened a little tab so I wouldn't get the names wrong. So he's a character we haven't seen in ages in Jujutsu Kaisen. By the way, this character has a pretty interesting technique because he's able to create incarnates, so he can trap curses inside dolls or things he created to make them living beings. But this technique is well known and requires what? The incarnates you usually make live off the occult energy of their creator. If the creator's occult energy vanishes, the incarnates die as well. Except, that good old guy actually managed to officially create an incarnate capable of moving on its own and having its own occult energy. So, an autonomous being, he really created a truly autonomous living being. That's the famous panda. There you go, and apparently we learn in this episode that, well, he was kind of sidelined from the world of exorcism because of that. Because what he did is both a revolution and a bit of a taboo. He created an artificial being able to manipulate occult energy. That means, well, the guy is dangerous. It means that if he wants to, he could make an army of incarnates like that and overthrow everyone. The exorcism world asks, how did you do it? The guy says, no, I didn't do it on purpose. It was an accident and happened early. We know that until now. If he wasn't jailed or executed, it was because Satoru Gojo protected him. That's because actually in the world of Exorcists, and this is a theme, maybe the central theme of Jujutsu Kaisen, for me the problem is Satoru Gojo. We discussed in the last Jujutsu Kaisenology, available on the main channel, that Satoru Gojo is both the solution and the problem in exorcism because he's so powerful. That the big shots, let's say, who are a bit malicious, can't and don't really dare to do anything crazy, because otherwise they're afraid of bringing down the wrath of Satoru Gojo on themselves. If he joins the enemy, things get complicated. No one can stop him. But at the same time, it's the existence of Satoru Gojo that keeps the status quo, because Satoru Gojo isn't really willing to do the job, if you will. Instead, he works to reform the system from within by training his students to be better exorcists, so they can challenge the troublesome old guard. Yaga was also protected because Satoru Gojo existed. But now that he's been sealed, it kind of works out for everyone. It works out for the world of the masters, the curses, and the cursed spirits, because now the big boss isn't there anymore. So now they can manage to crush the world of exorcists, and it also benefits the old guard of the exorcist world, because now they can pretty much do whatever they want. There's no Satoru Gojo to stop them anymore. So that's really interesting. And so we also learn in this episode that Yaga made incarnated puppets for some people who were kind of in trouble. Here we understand that actually he knew a couple apparently who had lost their child. He managed to incarnate the soul of their child into a puppet, and so he gave it to the parents, knowing it's not truly him but a synthetic being with his traits, yet not actually him. So you think the guy? He's compassionate because in a way he allows a grieving family to It's paradoxical, but he eases their pain a bit, yet at the same time, it's kind of messed up because then you don't really grieve. From the moment they bring your kid back in another form, it's not your kid, and you're still the poor woman who's half crazy. It's a bit cruel, but you can tell the guy is a good guy, and he didn't want to use his technology, the spell he developed. He didn't want to cause harm or create soldiers, he just wanted to help people, so he was a good person, and now Rugo is gone. They accuse the guy of making incarnates, demand he explain or they'll kill him. He acts tough, so Kami kills him. Alors, so this part on its own is interesting because it lets us discover a bit more about the character Yaga, who hasn't been explored much until now. Now, I'm still asking myself the question, and it's something I wondered about when I read the manga too. Why are they telling us this now? In the context we're currently in within the story, why are they telling us this now? I see where this is going, but why tell us this now? I don't know. So I understand what it means. It means like I hear you saying it. He's revealing the corruption in exorcism. That's it. They're not benevolent. It's all about power games. If you break the rules, they'll hurt or kill you. If you were to threaten our existence or our supremacy, in a way, our legitimacy. If you have a technique that we don't know and can't control, we'll kill you. They didn't do that with Gojo because good luck trying to kill Gojo, and besides, Gojo was protecting everyone. So I get that, but in this context, I have trouble understanding where they're going with this. Even with the panda coming in and crying, his father and the old man with the guitar, can't recall his name, ask him, "Why aren't you attacking me?" He replies, "I don't hate, I'm not like you humans, but pandas can cry too." Okay, how does this relate to the rest of the episode? I'm not saying it's badly written, I'm not saying it's badly done, or that it's stupid. I'm just saying that right now I don't understand where they're going with this, maybe for now. The manga's details aren't fresh in my mind, but I'm curious where they're going with this. Even Yaga's last words are, "Go ahead, I'll explain, I'll finally give you the formula." And he's asked, "Why tell me everything now?" It's a curse, since in Jujutsu Kaisen, explaining your technique is dangerous. It makes it stronger. So when he cursed the guy from Urlo, the other school, was that to make Panda stronger? What's going on here? This is getting too cryptic for me. Maybe I don't have enough perspective on the episode yet to come up with an interpretation. But I think Yaga seemed a bit resigned, and I don't really understand why he was so resigned. Either way, the story is interesting. It's just why now? Why bring up the Zenin clan now, like in the last episode? Is it just to show that with Gojo gone, everything's falling apart and the balance is lost? Exorcism is falling apart, and they're desperate. They're killing people unnecessarily because they don't know what else to do. Mikey can afford to beat up everyone. The Zenin clan turns into real bastards by killing their own children, because there's no more balance. Actually, there are no more rules. Gojo isn't there anymore. Things can change, but not always for the better. Maybe that's the point. Everything is getting a bit chaotic, I don't know, maybe we'll get the answer, maybe you have the answer in the comments, feel free to let me know. Then we see Megumi and Itadori who are going to try to recruit Akari and his friend. There's uncertainty about the gender of the character with him. I also forgot the name, but it's not a big deal, just tell me in the comments. In this case, they're trying to recruit him, except that he's a rebel who has kind of run away from the world of exorcism. He has returned to the underground exorcism scene and organizes fights between former exorcists. So that's how he makes money, so they have to infiltrate and they must not get caught. He even raises students from the exorcism school so as not to arouse suspicion from him, because he doesn't want to have any connection with the school. This is interesting. There's a cool infiltration aspect. Megumi is clearly the smartest, while Yuji Itadori is totally clueless. Well, so this is interesting, and I think this is the most interesting part. Of course, there's the whole fight with Panda, which is really, really cool. Like, "Oh, but what are you doing here?" But wait, I'm giving you the info I have while pretending to fight. It's kind of nice. So Yuji, he just shows up and says, "Can I see the boss? But shut up, we told you not to ask to see him." Actually, the first thing he does is that he's a bit dumb. And then what I really liked was the way the meeting with Akari was staged. It's kind of a long take with a dialogue, and you're wondering, damn, when is this going to go off the rails? It's pretty disconcerting because we're not used to seeing this kind of shot in this type of anime. And honestly, it was really well done. I was completely into the dialogue the whole time. I was really immersed. So I just went with it. And then at one point, he gives himself away, like, yeah, but who is it? Gojo, he goes, no, but dude, you're a joke. Everyone knows who Satoru Gojo is. So why are you pretending? Are you a mole? Are you trying to mess with me? Yeah, there was a bit of a Yakuza Mafia movie vibe. Pretty cool. And we also got a little glimpse of Dakari's power with his doors. Subway there. Weird. No, honestly, the episode was really, really good. Once again, honestly, we're eating really well with Jujutsu Kaisen. There's a real effort in the adaptation, meaning it follows the manga in terms of story, but when it comes to direction and all that, it takes some liberties. It presents another version and elevates it somewhat. I'm not trying to copy paste. There was a specific scene where Akari catches Yuji, which actually became a meme at the time. When Yuji realized he said something dumb, they chose to handle it differently this time, and that's not a bad thing. It helps you rediscover the scene with real creative direction. It's not just like, let's do it panel by panel, and that's not a bad thing. Honestly, I like this kind of approach. If we could do the same thing, this kind of stuff more often, that would be really cool. There's really a production quality on Jujutsu Kaisen that's just incredibly amazing. There are real creative choices, there are details just for the sake of it. When Yuji lifts the barrier to enter the parking lot, it seems ordinary, but you can tell they put in real effort. It's very well done, so I hope we'll see more anime of this quality in the future. So yeah, I'm really, really curious to see how they're going to handle the situation with Akari. I don't remember the power, the kind of fanboy who goes along with her. So this will be a chance to remember all that and finally get into the culling game. Once again, a great episode for me. I'm looking forward to the next one and just want to say yes.